My hello. Today is June the 11th. And originally, this video was going to be kind of a backstory to how my health got to the point to where I actually needed new lungs. But I'm going to push that off because I feel like the anxiety that has come with the process is worth mentioning at this time. So, typically, you're going to have several chest tubes to drain the fluid from your chest after surgery. Nothing uncommon with that. It's just sometimes it could take longer than others to come out. I found I should be getting I had four. Three have come out already, and I should be getting the last chest tube out today. So it'll be nice. I won't be tethered to where my movement is somewhat restricted. Still gotta physically get used to deep breathing again, but at least that should help make it a more gradual process, that my body's not brushing up against more or less a small garden hose that's in my chest. And that also means I'm a step closer to going home. But then when I started thinking about it, it's almost like the closer I get to going home, I feel myself getting anxious again. Which is weird because usually I can't wait to get out of the hospital. And now it's like I'm almost hesitant to leave. And I can't put my finger on exactly why I feel that way this time. It's not because of like infection risk, because I know that just kind of comes with the territory. But it's something. And even when I talk about it, I feel like my chest get heavier and just kind of my thoughts racing a little more. It's hard to explain, but it's been there more or less the whole time since this process has started. I think just how it all unfolded in the end, there's just so much going on that my body's still in a state of shock, trying to process everything. And I'm continuing to go to counseling, where adjusting antidepressants and all that good stuff, but I know that takes time. But the anxiety with processes like this, they sometimes get mentioned, but more so people focus on, well, physically, like what's the recovery like, or physically, what's the process like. People won't often delve into, I guess, the psyche of this process. And thankfully, at least for the time being, the depression I had with cancer, at least at this point in the game, doesn't appear to be there. It's definitely very much anxiety driven. And forgive me if I mentioned some of this in the last video. I haven't made outlines or anything for these videos, so there's going to be some repeating on my part. But it can be debilitating to deal with, because you see numbers, you know that everything is fine in a sense, but your body hasn't quite registered that. And I know for the body to completely recover, your mind, they need to be on the same page, or else it's going to pull you in different directions and you won't truly be able to move forward. And panic attacks aren't fun. Like it's fine enough, I guess, when you're just having to sit around and you don't have to do anything. But if it hits you when you're out and about, or at work, school, whatever it may be, it can compound it for sure. Because you don't necessarily want people to start focusing on you and asking what's going on. But at the same time, you need your space, and that you just need to try your best to calm yourself. And I still haven't found a perfect technique for that either. I know, like, modifying my breathing in a sense helps with that. But also, if I modify my breathing too much, it kind of makes me remember to how I had to breathe when I couldn't get enough air into my lungs. And I've been finding myself breathing still the old way, and I know that's going to take time to go away, that even when I'm not pushing myself hard or I'm just kind of sitting around, I still find myself doing like pursed lip breathing, like it in its own way, it's calming, but at the same time, at this point, it brings up some bad memories too. And I had to pause for a second because I wasn't quite sure where I was headed off to. And versus just blankly staring at the camera for 10 minutes, it allowed me to collect my thoughts. But oftentimes, like, the doctors are aware of the anxiety and what this process brings about. But at the same time, a lot of them aren't necessarily equipped to truly address it. Because there's like some school of thought where it's like, it's all in your head, you just got to get out and do it. Which, there's a part of me that appreciates that. Because you don't want just to completely be ruled by your thoughts. But at the same time, it's not always as simple as like, oh, just go exercise or go stand out in the sun for a while. It's more complex than that. And as many years as I've been doing therapy and whatnot, there's not a quick reset button, I guess, like I have found that can address that when I feel this coming on, because until I've gotten these new lungs, my anxiety has been pretty well controlled. Like, it hasn't thankfully been an issue. It's just something that once was, it wasn't any longer. But I guess when you go through like a shocking incident, even if you have made progress in the past, it's more that you'll need to follow up on, and then new progress you're going to have to make going forward. So while I'm thankful I'm getting to go home, and I know, like, from a physical standpoint, just historically, I know that it's going to help a lot with my recovery. There is that unknown. And I guess something that has to just, like, until you feel in your body the inability to breathe, I can't truly convey the fear that comes with that. And the dread of you just knowing that no matter how many times you try to press your chest in and out, the air's not coming. And I've now had that experience twice over the last 4-ish years, coupled with incidents of coughing up blood that, while thankfully that didn't clog my airways to stop my breathing, you can't breathe and cough up blood at the same time. And in my case, it was just praying that the blood would in fact stop at some point, because there's no guarantee like how much or how little is going to come up. But I guess all those incidents piled on together just kind of culminated with the transplant. And it'll definitely be something I'll have to work through. Which I will. I'm not just going to let it sit there, because it makes no sense to go through this physical and emotional pain of the process to just not try to improve further or just let it eat you alive, because it will if you don't address it. I'll have to be patient with the process. A while ago, I said I can't say take each day at a time, because that was just too overwhelming to think about. It was take each hour at a time. And it's almost like I knew what the recovery was going to be like in this process, where sometimes you just have to break it down into that small of a time frame. Like, don't even try thinking several hours ahead. Just focus on now. And it doesn't have to be that way for forever, but when you're dealing with something this serious, it has to be baby steps for sure. So my plan for the next video is to briefly address from my leukemia days up into the transplant, how everything kind of unfolded from that standpoint. That I just thought addressing my mental health today was a good video instead. And I'll see y'all later. Bye.